episode 106 of Chew on This, a Nerds United podcast. I'm BJ.
Vic.
This is Chew on This Goes Trick or Treating 2017. So it's our
this
second
is our
one.
first. Is this the first time that we've ever had a theme go into next year?
I don't know. Well, we have our casseroles and we have our.
Well, yeah, but this is one of those
that's not really
things
a
where
theme, though.
yeah, this is one of our. Well, I guess it's a kind of a holiday theme. It's the first holiday theme that we've rolled over since we never did like a Labor Day one.
Yeah, let's do that. It's Arbor Day. Yeah. I think this is, and I think last time though we just talked about a whole bunch of different scary movies, which
Right.
I know we were talking about that this time. We're like, let's just like pick one thing that we kind of enjoyed and just kind of talk the shit out of it. And this is actually, interestingly enough, this is the 30th anniversary of Monster Squad, which we both grew up with. I think I was a little bit older when it came out than you were, obviously. And so it didn't have as much of an impact as me because I had like Goonies and some other things before that I just totally loved. So this movie didn't have a big impact on me, but I know it did on you a little bit. And then years later when the DVD came out, I think both of us bought it at the same time. Right. Because we were like, oh man, I watched that movie in like 20 years.
Because you couldn't get it. I remember going to by us, it was called A to Z Video, and I would always make my dad rent three movies. Transformers the movie was one of them. Mm-hmm. The Last Dragon, with Bruce Lee Roy and the Shogun of Harlem, and then it was Monster Squad. And these are the three movies that I always like watch. I mean, and also the Monster Squad was always on HBO too.
Yeah.
Not HBO 2, HBO also. Back then we didn't have HBO 2.
Right.
You were just stuck with one HBO.
Right.
So I watched it a lot on HBO and watched it a lot on tape. I watched it all the time when it was on HBO. So I knew this movie inside and out before. Like I probably could have gone without watching this movie for this episode and just played off of whatever you were saying and remember the movie. Like that's how many times I've seen it.
Yeah.
But I remember really liking this movie growing up. And then I watched it maybe last year, but it was kind of in the background, and I watched it for what it was. I didn't really watch it as a critic. Mm-hmm. And this time around, watching it as a critic, it doesn't hold up as well.
Well, yeah, when you're like
still
8,
funny.
you like it. When you're like 8, you love it.
I mean, I still love all the quotes like "Wolfman's got nards" and "Stop being chicken shit" by the little girl.
Oh yeah,
she says that. Just a lot of like one-liners.
Did you
like?
Oh.
No, I was just saying, like, I just remember still enjoying it, but, like, paying attention to the plot and thinking there was always something that really bothered me about this movie, even growing up watching it. And I didn't really think about it too much until I watched it for tonight. And I was right. My like, 10-year-old, 12-year-old self was fucking right about this movie. Because I always wondered, well, if they're supposed to say this like seance with a virgin, right, and they do it before midnight, the portal opens up and sucks down all the evil. Mm-hmm. And in the opening scroll, it says they failed, they blew it, is what the opening scroll says, right?
Right.
So because then you see like Van Helsing and all the good guys and all the bad guys also get sucked into the vortex, and they failed. But at the end of the movie, by the way, spoilers. By the end of the movie, they apparently succeed. And it opens the vortex, but it still sucks in the good and the bad.
Yep.
And I'm like, okay, so no matter what the fuck happens, this amulet's just gonna open up. Like, what's the difference between now and then? Like the main character, like the only difference between the beginning and the ending of the movie is that they never checked to see if like Dracula and Frankenstein were behind them in the vortex. They only sucked in like 2 or 3 skeletons.
Right.
Whereas in the end of the movie, none of the kids get sucked into the vortex, and all the villains that are or the monsters that are still left alive get sucked into the vortex. That's the only difference. Both times, good and bad get sucked into the vortex. The only time the second time it was different than the second time was that Dracula and Frankenstein were there. That was it.
Yeah, all the other. I think by that point, all the other villains were dead.
But there's no difference between the two. You would
No,
think like
there isn't a difference because so if you think about like the movie, what is it, Jumanji,
right,
when they finally win, it sucks everything in that has to do with that game, no matter how far away those entities were, it got sucked back into the game when
right.
it finished. Well, in this, it's like it just opens up a fucking vortex. Like Dracula could be halfway across the world by now, and it won't
Yeah.
get it. It won't get
No,
him. It
right,
just
exactly.
it just gets everything within its vicinity, which I'm like, that's stupid. Why would you want to
Yeah.
open? Don't open that.
It's like the world's worst like vacuum. It's like the core is only like an inch long, and you can only vacuum in like a square foot
Right.
around the outlet and nowhere
Like
else.
if I was Dracula, I'd be like, "Fuck, I'm out of here. I'll just wait this
Yeah,
thing out."
yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like, oh, this year I don't feel like trying to destroy it. I'll just figure out where it is and stay the fuck. Like, I'll just be the next town over.
Right.
You know.
I'm gonna bounce for a while.
They're like if it was in like San Francisco, you're like, oh, I'm just gonna drive to San Jose. I should be okay. Like that's how you defeat the amulet. You just make sure
You're not
within
around.
you're within like you're 2 miles away from the amulet, and you're fucking golden. You're so golden.
Yep.
You know. And the other thing about that too is other like weird things that happen in the ending too. Dracula gets stabbed full blown by Sean with the stake,
Yep.
and he doesn't disintegrate or anything like that. He doesn't die. He's still struggling. And I'm like, okay, so what's going on here? He can't be killed by a stake. I'm like, because they drive it in. They those three vampires get killed. They even tell you in the beginning of the movie, stake and sunlight. That's it.
Right.
Drives a stake right through his heart. And I always wondered about that growing up too. I'm like, shouldn't he have like died right there? Shouldn't he should have died like the other three vampires did? But no, he doesn't. He just keeps fighting on in the vortex, the shitty vacuum cleaner vortex.
Let's just call it that.
Shitty vacuum.
Yeah. So you know who wrote this movie, right?
Yeah.
Shane Black.
Yeah.
Who, of course, Iron Man 3 fame. He's making a Predator movie, which, interestingly enough, he's actually making a Predator movie next summer, and he's writing it with Fred Decker, who is the director of Monster Squad. So, Fred Decker really hasn't done like a ton of movies. He did like 4 or something, like 4 directing things. Like
No, yeah.
something called Night of the Creeps. He did an episode of Tales from the Crypt that I actually loved. It had Joe Pesci in it, and then he did RoboCop 3. That was his last movie that he directed.
Yeah, I'm not a big Shane Black Iron Man 3 fan at all.
No,
And you can kind of see some of the stupidity in this one as in Iron Man 3 as well. Like just shit's just like
stupid
just-
plot points, stupid
yeah,
dialogue.
like
yeah.
let's just invite the fucking Mandarin and like give him my address and just be hanging out. I don't have any of the 5,000 suits I have in the basement all ready to go surrounding my house. I'm just fucking chilling out here.
Yeah, I don't have defense systems at my house.
Yeah.
I'm Iron Man.
I mean, like if I called out a murderer on the news and I'm not Iron Man, I'm turning on the security system at least. This guy called out a fucking entire terrorist group, and he's just hanging. He's not even wearing the fucking suit that he greets Pepper Potts with. Like that's how fucking chill he is. That he doesn't even give a shit that he just called out a terrorist.
Right.
Not just a terrorist, the terrorist. Like Osama bin Laden times like 1,000. He called this guy out. And the suit the immediate suit that he could get into and protect this house and Pepper, he's not even fucking wearing it.
You're right.
He's actually in his garage doing some shit or like that or whatever.
Not that he even had to like give his address out. I'm pretty sure everybody knew where he lived.
Well, true, and it's funny because like later on it's revealed that he has all those suits, and you're like, well, why the fuck didn't you have those suits ready to go? Like he only like the Mandarin only sent 2 helicopters. You had fucking 50 Iron Man suits.
You're getting more and more mad every time you think about
Yeah,
that.
I am. Yeah. Let's go back to Monster Squad before this becomes Iron Man 3.
Monster Squad, this is our new favorite thing this year, but we always look at old movies budgets and then try to compare it to Spawn, which is about to come out sometime. I don't know. But so the budget of this movie was $12 million.
It's 2 million more.
Yeah.
It's 2 million more, and there's a lot of matte paintings in this.
Yeah. Yep. And
And I
it
mean
all.
the I think the special effects I think were done by the same people that might have done either like maybe have done American Werewolf in London, because I remember the werewolf changing scenes were pretty good.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
They weren't
um,
bad.
but there's like really there's some like really bad like special effects in this movie,
Yeah.
because it's a low budget low budget like film. And again, McFarlane thinks he's gonna make a Spawn movie for 10 million, and I'm like, okay, are you gonna see Spawn through an iPad? Like, I don't know how you're gonna
Is
do it for 10 mil.
is it an 8 pixel animated movie? Like an
I
8
mean,
bit?
they had to use the same like sets over and over again here.
Right.
I mean, the ending of the movie is actually filmed on the same street or the same lot that the intro for the Growing Pains episode is
Yep.
shot.
Yep.
And and it still cost $12 million back in 1987. So that's like $20 million now.
No, like, yeah, probably more.
So for him, so imagine this movie and making it, and you saw how bad the special effects were, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in order, you have to cut. This movie had to have been made for like 6 million to match what McFarlane's gonna do for Spawn. So imagine, look, okay, so again, like outside of the Wolfman changing, there's some cheesy, especially when Dracula changes, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's some cheesy effects here. Now imagine this movie on a $6 million budget.
It would just be like a stick, like I don't know.
Dracula, you could still see like the tag on
Right.
Dracula's costume from like Target
They had to take it
or
back.
Walmart. That would explain that
Don't
the
get
whole
any
scene.
stains on this.
The whole scene where Sean stabs him in the chest won't happen because they can't put a hole through the shirt because they would have to return it.
Right.
Like, no, don't drag him through the ground.
No.
Can't drag him on the ground. Fucking, you're gonna ruin the cape. We got to return that shit.
Yeah, Dracula, lift up your cape off. Don't
Yeah.
drag it on the ground.
He's like, no, we don't have the budget for teeth. Take these chiclets and cut them.
It's terrible.
The amulet's not an amulet. It's like a fucking glow stick. It's a glow stick that with like because what is it, like two snakes coming out of it? So it's like
Yeah.
it's a glow stick with two gummy worms taped to it. Taped to it.
Oh my god! Oh my god! This movie. Oh, it's sad too because this movie it only made $3.8 million. So you can
Oh,
imagine, like
wow.
after 2 weeks being in the box office, they kicked it out at the movie theater. It was only out for like 2 weeks, and I remember going to the theater and watching it.
Oh yeah.
I
Wow.
remember. I went, and I was disappointed. Because you talk about like this movie comes 2 years after stuff like Back to the Future and like fucking Goonies.
Well, the
and-
Goonies is the one thing that's always referenced to. It's always
Yeah.
called, what's the Monster Squad? Well, picture the Goonies with monsters.
Yeah, it's like monstrous. It's like Goonies / Ghostbusters / something, whatever. But also, I found out that because when I this is my older self watching the movie, I'm like, this isn't a Universal Pictures. How they get the rights to all these villains, these monsters? Because they're all property of Universal Pictures. So they had to alter each of the monsters slightly so that they wouldn't get sued.
Okay.
So like Frankenstein's bolts aren't on his neck; they're on his head, his forehead. Like, Dracula doesn't have like the widow's peak. Something about Wolfman I can't remember, but anyway, there were slight variations. I think Wolfman's ears like stood straight up or something like that.
Hmm.
Really bizarre. And then the Creature of the Black Lagoon wasn't called that; it was called something else.
Okay.
In fact, the Creature of the Black Lagoon was kind of like that Indian dude on Suicide Squad. He never shows. He just fucking shows up and then gets killed.
killed, yeah. He literally comes out of the sewer,
And they shoot him in the chest, and he's
and
like
the fat
fucking dead.
the fat kid shoots him in the chest, and he's gone. I'm like, Didn't they make an entire movie about this guy?
Yeah.
And some 12-year-old fat kid just killed him with a shotgun? How the fuck did he survive that long in the black and white movie?
He's
Did they
too
not have
slow.
guns back then?
He's just too slow.
I don't know.
But anyway,
Fat kid fucking killed him though.
oh, it's sad about the fat kid. So his name, like throughout the movie, his name's Horace, but everyone calls him Fat Kid.
Well, that's why I was calling him fat kid, not to
Yeah.
be mean, but that's what they
Yeah.
called him.
Yeah, through the
And
whole
I-
movie they call him a fat kid, and poor kid, he died like the actual actor died like 10 years later.
Oh, really?
From pneumonia. I didn't know he died.
Oh, okay.
I was like, this dude is like, he's not quite Chunk, but
No.
he, he didn't have the truffle shuffle.
No.
He had kick him in the nards.
Well, Chunk had some like amazing scenes. I mean, that blender scene,
Oh fuck yeah.
then when he's like spilling his guts to like telling all the bad things he did.
That was awesome. Which is totally something a little kid would do.
Yeah, yeah. The thing that sticks out about this movie that I like a little bit more than the Goonies is that there's cursing in it.
Yes.
Like I remember
some
being
adult themes.
Well, I mean, I remember, growing up and that's not how I didn't speak without cursing at 12 years old.
Right.
I definitely dropped the F-bomb and the S and all that stuff. And they don't say fuck in this one, but there's shit and damn, in there.
Yeah.
They talk like I did. So I think that's a little bit more like I can relate a little bit better to this movie as far as the dialogue goes.
Mm-hmm.
But there's definitely things in this movie that I would not have done at 12 years old. I definitely would have cursed, but knowing as much as I should have known about Monster, since you call yourselves the Monster Squad, why the fuck would you go looking for shit when Rudy has all the weapons?
Yeah. Oh, let's talk about.
I mean, wait, just really quickly,
Okay.
because think about how stupid this is, right?
Mhm.
This movie takes place in a day, 2 days, I think. Takes
Yeah.
place in 2 days.
Yep.
But the first day is just all set up. The second day is when they realize that they have to get everything ready. It's not even a full day. They have to get ready everything at midnight. So Rudy builds like 7 stakes and
At school, right?
and six silver bullets, right? At school. First of all, how the fuck is there why is there a fucking bullet mold in school?
Where's the
Where the fuck did he
teacher?
get a bullet mold?
Yeah.
Well, there's a scene where he's pretending that he's making like a bird cage, and then you see him sneaking away to sharpen the stakes, which which completely makes. I'm okay with that. What I'm not okay with is why is there where did Rudy get a bullet mold, right? And if he didn't go and get one because we don't see it, why the fuck does the school have a bullet mold? Why are you making bullets in school? Right?
Why? Oh, and the teacher probably would have seen him throw a bunch of silverware in there too.
Right,
What are you
exactly, that too.
What are you doing?
And then here's the best part of the whole thing, right? So Rudy's making all these weapons, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he tells the other team about it because all he has to do is just go get the virgin, the chick, the safest job you could possibly get, right?
Oldest kid.
From the oldest kid, he has the safest job, and he has all the weapons. And then Sean, with the fat kid and the kid and the dog, have to go into the scary mansion to go get the amulet with no weapons. They only have a flashlight and a slice of pizza.
Right. Yeah, I always found that kind of weird too. I'm like, that for one thing, Rudy, they never really established like the one kid's getting beat up and he shows up and goes, "Hey, don't do that," and makes the other kid,
Yeah, the brother from Wonder Years, the older brother.
Right. He what does he make him do? He makes him do something. Oh, eat the candy bar that he squished with his foot. Right?
Yeah, because it was Horace's
Right.
candy bar.
And then all of a sudden, of course, it was the fat kid's candy bar. And then all of a sudden, he starts hanging out with these kids, like out of nowhere.
Who are in intermediate school while he is in high school.
Right? Did they establish? Or was he related to any of them, or was he like dating one of their sisters? Or
No, but clearly Rudy is not that cool if he hangs out with intermediate school kids.
Totally.
He's probably like the biggest dork in high school because he's wearing brown loafers and rides around on a bike.
He looks like the Fonz.
Right, the Fonz is like bastard child, And he's like, "Fuck high school. I'm gonna hang out with like kids who think I'm cool, which are younger than me."
Right, and they're right, and they're and they're all giving him like he's like a future pedophile or something. They gave him like he's got the binoculars and he's looking across the street at the chick taking her bra off. Which when I was a kid I was like, damn, seriously, like in a kid movie. And then but they're sitting there like quizzing him about monsters, and I'm like, why is he doing that? And then he's like, you got take this seriously so you could be in the club or whatever it is. Like you have to answer all the monster questions correctly, and then you're in the club. And I'm
Right.
sitting here going like, why would this kid even want to hang out with these little kids? Like this doesn't make any sense at all.
Well, how about the fact that after he finds out that Frankenstein took a picture of that naked that kid's sister
Oh
naked?
yeah, yeah.
Why is the brother still trying to see the picture? Like you remember, he's jumping trying to get the picture.
Oh, that's
It
right.
doesn't. It doesn't look like he's trying to get the picture back because everybody like he's not shoving anybody. He's not saying "fuck you guys." That's my sister. Don't look at her.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
actually trying to get the picture too. And I'm like, what the fuck is that about?
Maybe it's his stepsister.
Yeah, I don't know. Oh, and speaking of like things that don't make any sense too, so you know how they have till midnight to do this whole thing, right?
hmm
They're like, oh, we'll go to church. That's got a lot of people at midnight. At midnight, there's a lot of people at church, and this is 1987. I don't remember Burger King being open that late.
No, let alone church. Yeah. That
Yeah,
doesn't make any sense.
so and like Rudy's like all like he's all pissed off because like the church doors are locked. Like, yeah, they're fucking locked. It's midnight.
So I don't know if all you guys out there watch this movie or not. I mean, just it's really simple. It's just these kids. They form this kind of monster. They love monsters. They talk about monsters all the time. And then what? They
The mom buys. This
Oh
is-
yeah,
saying
yeah.
it out loud is even worse. The mom buys a diary that ends up being belonging to Van Helsing.
Right.
I don't know how the diary gets into like a garage sale. I don't even know what town they're in. Do you know? Like
No,
what city?
but it's
No.
like literally the day before the thing needs to happen too. So
Right.
it's very coincidental.
So he finds it, right? Or she finds it at a garage sale or something at a flea market, gives it to the kid, Sean, and then like that night or something when he gets back, somebody called for Sean. It ends up being Dracula. And I'm like, Dracula knows that the diary is at that house? Why the fuck did he call?
Dracula knows.
Why the
It's like-
fuck did he call?
It's exactly because the police would never call you either. They would just show up at your house.
Well, I mean,
You don't
I mean, if
trust
you're
anybody
going
that
like with the
calls you.
old like vampire Dracula rules, like he can't go to the house unless he's invited, right?
can't
But
get
you got
inside the house.
fucking
Yeah.
yeah. But he's got the Wolfman, he's got the Mummy, and he's got Frankenstein, and he's got the creature from the Black Lagoon. Send one of those people to just fucking go to the house and get the diary and kill everyone in the house.
So that's the other thing. Rewind it a little bit. So, so at the very beginning of the film, they do the vortex thing, and it fails. And then it's 100 years later. Happens to be 100 years later. And then the next scene is like these two guys like on a plane flying somewhere, and then Dracula shows up and like opens up the one guy opens up the hatch to try to drop Dracula out of the plane, and it doesn't work because
It drops Frankenstein out of the plane.
Yeah, so Frankenstein falls out of the plane at 10,000 feet, and then Dracula flies out as a bat. Well, as he flies out, it's fucking daylight outside, and I'm like, why didn't he die? Like
Yeah.
flying out of the plane. Number one, and number two, wouldn't Frankenstein from like I don't know, let's say it was 5,000 feet, like fall to the ground and like just disintegrate?
He falls in the water.
It doesn't matter. And water at that height is like concrete. I mean, he
Yeah,
would've-
the casket should have blown open.
yeah, it should have just completely got obliterated.
So this
And-
movie establishes that you cannot kill Dracula with sunlight or a stake through the heart.
Right. And Frankenstein is like completely like impervious. to
Even
anything.
though they made it a point to say that Frankenstein is actually Frankenstein's monster, they call him Frankenstein the rest of the fucking movie.
right.
Like, I don't care what your name is; it's still Frankenstein.
right.
Even though
and then-
even though we're the Monster Squad, we're going to call you an incorrect name. Like You could have let it, like, he's your friend now, right? So let him pick a fucking name. Stop calling him Frankenstein, the guy who created him.
And then I'm trying to remember where the werewolf came from. He was just like
He
some
just shows up at the
random
police.
dude.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
just shows up at the police station saying like,
arrest me.
you know, arrest me, kill me, or lock me up because I'm a werewolf. And I'm like,
I'm
do
gonna
you do
kill
this in
someone.
do you do this in every town that you go to?
And then like the mummy, he shows up, right? He pops out of somewhere.
He pops out of the sarcophagus
Sarcophagus.
and he's just walking and he dies in the dumbest fucking way.
Well, I mean, yeah, a way that he would die in the cartoon, just like
Yeah,
pull-
yeah, like
pull
in
the- pull
DuckTales or
his-
something. Yeah.
Yeah, Ducktales.
Like
Um,
Huey would like, you know, get the guy's bandage stuck in a door, and they would just keep running and running around in circles till there was
Right.
nothing left.
There was nothing left but a skull. That's
Yeah.
the only thing that was left.
Yeah,
I was like,
thought
this is so fucking.
I was like,
cheesy.
all right, there. That's one stupid death. They can't top this. And then the creature of the Black Lagoon comes out, just fucking gets shot. Like, how fucking slow are you? You waited that entire time for a 12-year-old to figure out how to fucking use a shotgun. That's how slow you are.
Yeah,
They didn't have video games back then where a 12-year-old would kind of know how to use a shotgun, because you see that now in like Call of Duty and all these other games out there that use a shotgun, like Gears of War, right? So you
Right.
kind of have an idea like how to reload a shotgun based on all those video games. This is 1987. Those graphics weren't invented then. Then they had no idea how to work a shotgun. That's how slow the creature from the Black Lagoon is.
Yes, exactly.
Who
So
else dies dumb? That's it though, right?
well,
Yeah.
they actually blow up the Wolfman, like completely obliterate him. And
That part was pretty cool.
and it was
when
like
he
Terminator
comes back
2
together.
and shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I found a webpage that actually has some facts about Monster Squad. I don't really need any facts about Fred Decker other than he was rejected by film school. He had to be an English major and do work on films in school with his friends. Like that, how sad is that? Yeah, so I think I told you this earlier, but they had to alter those monsters in order so they wouldn't get sued. The mummy, they actually, when they casted the mummy, they said in the ad, it says looking for an extremely thin actor on the verge of anorexia. And so that's what it said. And the guy's like, I might be able to do that. And he shows up there and he got the part. I'm like, which basically he lasted on screen for like 2 minutes.
Right.
Yeah, there was supposed to be I guess the script before was very ambitious. It had like Van Helsing fighting Dracula with machine guns and like all this shit.
Machine guns.
Oh yeah, it had like Dracula's castle. It had like 40 vampire brides riding around on horses, like all this shit. Because Shane Black wrote all this stuff, and Fred Decker's like, dude, this movie probably like costs like between $80 and $100 million now. We got to trim all that shit down.
So they got it to 12, and second, and what's his face wants to make Spawn for 10 million.
Yeah.
Now, 10 million now.
There is a
which
lot
is
of
probably 8 million back then.
Yeah, there's a lot of Easter eggs in the treehouse. I don't really know. I have to go back and watch them, but the article said there's a ton of like references to like horror films and things like that.
Huh.
The guy.
Oh, the treehouse. Speaking of the treehouse,
Yeah.
so remember when Dracula like throws the dynamite, right, and the treehouse blows? He says that really, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Mel Gibson line as he's walking away from the treehouse, and he says like "meeting adjourned," and it didn't, and it didn't dawn on me till like this morning when I was watching it, thinking, how does he know they have meetings up there, and why would he blow up the treehouse?
Well, plus they weren't even in there, were they?
No, they weren't in there. But like again, like you wasted dynamite first of all, and second of all, how did you know they had meetings in there?
Why didn't you wait till they were in there, you dumbass?
Yeah. Why did you reveal yourself? I mean,
right.
like if you didn't reveal yourself, they wouldn't have made steaks and silver bullets. Like again, he could have killed them instead of making that phone call. He could have just killed them in the treehouse when they were all giving Rudy the fucking test.
He's all, riddle me this, guys. And
Yeah. And then
Um,
he like, and then if you remember, like Sean sits down and tries to figure out who, like, for some reason he thinks that that word, that name, isn't right, and he just starts like mixing the letters around for no reason whatsoever. He just
right,
looks at it and he just does it. But then if you go back and watch it, right, Dracula's not really good at puzzles because all he did was just invert the letters. Like he just spelt
right,
it backwards.
right.
Because like
Alucard,
you could,
right?
yeah, you could
Yeah.
just say it, like you could just see it and be like, oh, that's Dracula. But Sean has to fuck it up a few times,
Right. He
right?
has to
So
be the weird
Dracula
rep.
sucks. Dracula sucks at puzzles, and Sean has already been established that he sucks at school. So
because he was dyslexic, he figured it out.
if he was dyslexic, somebody would have figured it out right away. Or maybe his mom's dyslexic
But-
because she wrote it backwards.
he's like Alucard, and he's like, "What the fuck's this, Mom? This is stupid.
Yeah. What
You
do
mean Dracula?"
Yeah. Mom, did you even finish the 5th grade?
So interesting fact about the guy who played Dracula. His name was like Duncan or something like that. He beat out Liam Neeson to be Dracula.
For this role?
Yeah, Liam Neeson was he
Oh, that
actually
would have been
pretty
awesome.
much had the part, and then this guy strolls in and takes it away from him because they're like, oh my god, like he was terrifying. In fact, I think Wizard Magazine named that performance of Dracula the greatest Dracula of all time. Of course, it's Wizard Magazine saying that. But
Really?
actually-
Over Gary Oldman's Dracula?
that's what I'm saying. I love Gary Oldman. That movie. I fucking that movie. Even though
That
it
movie
has
is
a lot
so
of
good.
problems, it's
Yeah.
pretty good. Yeah,
But he's great in that movie.
he is great, but it's ruined by fucking whoa.
Yeah. Keanu Reeves is
Whoa.
definitely out of place in
Whoa,
that.
it's
But Gary
Alucard.
Oldman is so good in that movie.
Oh,
and he
yeah.
has so much more to do than say meeting a
and
germ.
it's tragic too. Like what happens, like when he dies, you feel like you feel bad.
Right. You
know?
you actually understand why he curses God in that movie.
Yeah.
This guy this guy speaks to Frankenstein, says meeting adjourned, in Wizard Magazine said he's the best Dracula ever.
That's what it says. And he beat out Liam. He beat out Liam Neeson. I could have just seen Liam.
I'm trying to picture Liam
as
Neeson.
Dracula. He's like, I have a special set of skills.
If you take my amulet, I will come and find you.
Oh, the fucking amulet, dude. They rip open that wall in the castle and they find the amulet, and he just leaves it there. Why did they leave it there?
Oh, like out in the open? Like didn't
Yeah.
keep it, like he should have kept it in his fucking pocket. And then like
Right,
midnight
yeah.
rolls around and he just fucking hammers it.
Yeah. Like he.
Like he's a bat, right? He just stays place in this creepiest place in this nice suburban town.
Right.
You couldn't find a better hiding spot, right? I mean, take the yeah, you're right. He finds the amulet, just fucking leaves it
leaves
there.
it there. He breaks the wall open and he's like, "Cool, there it is."
It's
And
like
he walks
it's
away.
like if the Indiana Jones and the Indiana Jones and the first one,
Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Raiders of the Lost Ark, they find the Ark and they just fucking leave.
Yeah, they're like, he's like, "Cool," and
It's
then
like,
just
"Oh, cool,
like
got
walks
it."
away.
Right, there, he just walks in. It's like, there it is. Let's go. We'll just hope the Germans don't find it.
Yeah, we won. We did it. Let's
Yay!
go home.
Let's go eat some more poisonous dates.
Yeah. Let's see. What else? Gillman. Okay, so it wasn't called Creature of the Black Lagoon. He was called Gillman.
Okay, I didn't know that. I was called it from Creature from the Black Lagoon. So no matter what they tried to do Universal tried to do to them, it didn't work.
Yeah. So he, the guy that he was a creature builder who built Gillman. This was his first opportunity, probably only opportunity.
Looks good though.
to
He
actually
does
be in a
look good.
monster suit. He's probably the best looking monster out of all of them.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
Wolfman looks pretty good too.
Yeah. But yeah, he actually got to wear the suit. The guy that built it was pretty cool.
Tom Noonan is Frankenstein.
Yep. Yeah.
Very long time actor, I would say.
Yeah.
I mean, he was the bad guy in or one of the bad guys in the first time I really remembered him was in Last Action Hero.
Oh, right. Oh shit, I forgot about that.
Yeah, that was the first time I actually remembered something big that he was in.
He
But that
was
was
Tom. So he was in Frankenstein's makeup, but he they said that he never broke character on set, and it's funny because the little girl that that's the other thing that creeped me out is when I saw the little girl playing there and Frankenstein walk up. That freaked me out because I think in the original Frankenstein,
kills her,
he kills the little girl. Yeah, so I'm like,
but
oh
by
no.
accident.
Yeah, he was just playing hard with her, like
Yeah,
George and the rabbits.
right. Exactly. Of Mice and Men, right?
Exactly. So he actually never broke character, and then the little girl who grew up, I mean, she was like what 25 by the time. She's like, I was 25 by the time I actually met him for the first time without the makeup. Like 20 years went by. What else? Some cool stuff. Oh, that line, the last line of the movie, which is "We're the Monster Squad." He says that line,
Right.
something like that, like "Who are you guys?" or whatever. He's like, "We're the Monster Squad," which I think they were supposed to be like sequels or some shit, but um, that he was told the director told him say it like Clint Eastwood would, so that's why he says that the way he says it. I'm just trying to
they
remember
made
that.
they made like business cards just to give it to the dumb fuck army who actually showed up in a tank because of a letter written in crayon.
Yeah.
Come help, there's monsters written in crayon, and the army shows up. What the fuck?
Fuck. Yeah. That doesn't. It's like we didn't have the budget.
It's
We
just
don't have
I
the
want
budget.
I want to see that deleted scene where the fucking army general opens up that crayon letter and reads it with like a backwards E and shit in here, like like FHE, like the
Right.
FHE opening for VHS tapes. He
Yes.
reads it in crayon. He's like, "Oh fuck, we got to get down to this town. This is serious shit. They got monsters." I'm like, he's like, look, Captain Jones, they're in so much trouble in this town that she had to have a little kid write this letter to me. We need to fucking move.
We need to go now.
We need to go right the fuck now. They are in serious trouble. Grab the tanks. I'll okay everything. We got monsters.
Yeah, like I already, there's a lot of movies that have coincidences like crazy, and a lot of them you could kind of, set aside and go, okay, that's fine, no biggie. But this movie is like one huge coincidence after another.
Yeah.
It's like the book just happens to go into the hands of the woman who's like the mother of the Monster Squad leader, and it's a day before the ritual needs to be done because like
Where the amulet is there, and Frankenstein just so happens to fall into that pond.
right.
Like, so the guy who opens up the bomber hatch, right? He just happens to open it so where Frankenstein drops in the backyard of the kid who will get the diary, and like 2 blocks away from where the amulet is in some basement sealed up. Like
Yeah. It's
Dracula doesn't make a call to these monsters and say, "Hey, I'm gonna try and figure out how to get Frankenstein to this water pond, right? But the amulet's in this town. Everybody meet me in this town." Right? Mummy's already there in the museum. How good of luck is that, right? Mummy's already in that museum.
Wolfman's on his way. He's coming. Slowly.
Yeah, Wolfman's on his way. And Creature from the Black Lagoon, you're gonna have to walk around in sewers and shit.
Yeah, I mean, as a kid, I wanted to see this movie so bad because I was always a huge fan of Universal Studios monsters. Universal monsters. Always. Some of my first figures I ever got as a little kid. I was in J.C. Penney's, like standing in line with my mom, and we looked over, and there's like these 12-inch monster figures, all of them, all the figures that were in the movie, except for the Black Lagoon one. But there was Dracula.
Did the werewolf?
Wolfman. Yes.
Did the Wolfman have nards?
Yeah. I don't think I ever undressed them, but I got all of them. They were all 12 inches. They were like $2 a piece, $1.99. That's the only reason why my mom bought them. She's like, "Oh shit, that's a really good deal." And like Frankenstein and Dracula and Mummy and Wolf, they all glowed in the dark too. So that was kind of cool. and they would just lay in bed next to me, and like they would glow in the dark, and it was kind of like having a nightlight. I love those fucking things. So that movie came out, and I was so excited to see this movie. But after watching, like I said, Goonies and some of the other movies, it just fell completely flat for me. I think I was just too old. I think at that time to watch it. If I was like 5 years younger, I probably would have just loved the shit out of this movie. But
Yeah, like I did. I mean, I was in that age group right for it. I think in '87 I was eight
I
years
was,
old.
yeah, I was 14, and like I just watched Critters like the year before that.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and that's a really shitty, like cheesy movie, but it still carries like a special place. It's like,
It scared the shit out of me at 8 years old or
oh
six,
fuck
7 years
yeah,
old.
oh yeah. They were like I couldn't go to the bathroom for a while. I thought they were gonna pop out and eat my butthole or something out of the toilet. Like Jaws, Jaws,
butthole.
yeah, Jaws. I couldn't go in the pool or a bathtub, and fucking Critters. I couldn't
Yeah.
sit on a toilet. So I was like, I'm gonna go take a dump outside. All right.
For Monster Squad, you were like, there better be no sewer holes by Burger King.
It's like fuck. I'm just like, any virgins around?
First of all, the German guy, the scary German guy, never says that it needs to be a virgin.
No, I don't know.
Van
where they-
Helsing, Van Helsing says it in the beginning of the movie, and then Sean says it as they leave the scary German guy's house.
So was it in the diary, or did they cut a scene out where he?
Well,
No.
Sean would never have known, or maybe they cut the scene out. But Van Helsing does say virgin, so it's established that you need a virgin for this. But like I watched that scene where the scary German guy is explaining the procedure, and he never says virgin. It's not said until Sean and that other kid with the hot sister, they're talking about how to do it, and he's like, "Yeah, we just need to get a virgin." But nowhere does it say like virgin means woman or girl. Like it's
Oh.
always just like one of those kids could have just fucking read it.
Yeah, that's
Like
true.
while Rudy was killing the 3 chicks, just throw the world's shittiest vacuum up and say the seance thing and suck everything. That's how they would have blown it too, because at that point in time Dracula wasn't there, and Dracula's flying over as a bat and he sees the vortex. He's like, oh fuck, I better fly a mile the
Gotta
opposite direction.
bounce. Yeah.
I'll just go back to that house. Nobody fucking knows that. Why would I go back there? It's outside. It's outside of this vortex. I'm good. And then once it's done, I got a few hours to kill all these people. I'm good.
Yeah, it's messed up because it'd have been funny if the Monster Squad got sucked in there. They just all died. Like, oh,
Yeah,
all right.
I don't know. I still to this day don't know how they actually succeeded.
By dumb fucking luck, and then at the end, who are you
Yeah.
guys? We're the Monster Squad. Like, okay.
Like, does it matter to you, stupid army general who fucking brought the army because of a letter written in crayon? What's it to you?
You got here late, assholes. We
Yeah.
took care of it.
Not only did you fucking come here because of a letter written in crayon, but what the fuck took you so long? If you really thought there were monsters here, what the hell?
Yeah. He's like, oh shit, monsters. I remember those when I was a kid. I gotta get down there. That's so stupid. We
Fucking kid writes it in crayon.
dude, we could have wrote the shit. We could have just come up with our own shit. This is like we could fix the plot of this.
Well,
movie
that's one of the
so
things I was going to
easily.
say was that I think this movie is like, these are like The Last Starfighter.
Yeah.
This movie is ripe for, that's what Universal should do. They should
Yeah.
fucking remake this movie.
Forget Van Helsing. Like fucking do.
Well, that's
kid
I
version.
don't think they would be able to do this movie now. Like, I don't think Universal would give them the rights to all
No.
these characters.
No, Universal would have to do it, but Universal is fucked right now. I read recently about, the Mummy did so poorly that now they just took the next movie, whatever it was, Bride of Frankenstein.
Bride of
whatever it was,
Frankenstein,
They
right?
took it off the docket. They're like, yeah, we need to retool this, but that usually means it's
Yeah.
not gonna. They're gonna shut down their universe.
Tom Cruise fucked it up for everyone.
Oh yeah, because it wasn't like I didn't watch the movie, but you could tell from the
I did. It was so bad. The movie was terrible.
from the advertisements that it was like Tom Cruise isn't the Mummy. It's like okay, like, all right.
Yeah, it has certain parts of the Mummy, the Brendan Fraser version in it. Some parts of it, like
No
it seems like they're
way.
borrowed from it. Like some, yeah, because they took a few things from that there's certain things that they borrowed. If you've seen The Mummy, if you watch this one, you'll see certain things that are like, oh, that's how the other movie started too.
Okay.
And yeah, apparently a lot of things were going wrong in that movie where Tom Cruise brought his own writers and just like beefed up because originally he was not supposed to be that prominent in the movie because his character doesn't make any sense to be prominent in the movie.
I don't understand why they just didn't call Brendan Fraser up, be like, dude, we're building this universe. Come back for like one more movie. We're gonna kill you off in it or whatever. Have him come back because he's tied to it, and then just start from there. Build your universe there because I don't know. Like the third movie really sucked, but the first two I don't know. Like even they still hold up for me. I just find them really entertaining, but they tried to make a serious take of it, and I heard it didn't work. So
No, it didn't work at all.
I might catch it at some point. I don't know. If
It's let's put it this way. I don't think I can recall right now off the top of my head where it makes no sense to have this person, this character, not Tom Cruise, the character that Tom Cruise plays. It makes no sense for him to be the main focus of the movie.
right.
It just does not make any sense whatsoever. His character development in the first 5 minutes of the movie before he is like cursed by the mummy or whatever, it's so not redeeming and you don't like him at all. Like in the first 5 minutes when you see Brendan Fraser, you can see the character, like you see everything about him, right?
Right.
And in this one, you see everything about him. You're like, this guy's a dick. I'm like, I hope he does die. You
Yeah.
know, and then he becomes the focus of the movie, and you're just like, and like
Why?
the guy, one of the love interests from the New Girl, he was also in Jurassic World.
Nick.
Nick from the New Girl, yeah, he is his friend, and he dies, right? Spoilers, he dies, and the reason why I'm telling you this is because they do the same shit to that guy as they did in American Werewolf in London, where Tom Cruise is seeing this dead guy all over the place, like how you
Oh,
see
right.
in American Werewolf in London, and I'm like,
Right.
the fuck is this? I'm like, you just borrowed from like one of the most famous horror movies of all time. Like, I'm not going to pick up on this.
Right.
In this movie about the mummy, not about the werewolf, about the mummy, you did the same shit. So anyway,
It looked like a bunch of swirling garbage again in the air.
yeah, that happens, and it's swirling garbage and like the mummy mouth from the Mummy. You know what I'm talking about? The
Oh,
giant
jeez.
mouth in the sand.
Shit.
Yeah.
Seriously? Wow.
Yeah, yeah. Yep.
They think we're forgetful.
Yeah, I mean,
here's something new.
it's one thing to borrow from like the most famous like werewolf movie of all time, but then to borrow from a movie that we just saw and everybody borrows from that has like flying dust in the air, like Spider-Man 3 borrowed from it, with Sandman. Like he did the same fucking thing in that movie.
Yeah, totally.
And then you're going to do the same trick? Like, come on.
Fuck. Well, Monster Squad. So, 30-year anniversary of Monster
Yeah,
Squad.
I would rather see the Monster Squad over and over again than Tom Cruise's The Mummy.
It sounds like I probably would too. But this is a movie that I think parents should watch with their kids. Like
Not their little kids.
between 10 and 13 or 10 and
Yeah.
14, I think. Because it still has some, kind of redeeming things about it. It's just it totally captures that time. I think that's why we love, Stranger Things so much, because those guys, the Duffer Brothers, they really captured.
Yeah, they
that
do,
80s.
but their shit makes sense.
I don't know. We could probably poke some holes in that shit, but
Maybe,
anyway.
but I'm
But
pretty
it's
sure
pretty
if
tight.
they
It's pretty
I'm pretty
tight.
sure if they said they fail in that one, you would have seen the difference between failing and succeeding.
yeah, that's
Like
true.
the movie really the bookends of the movie. In the beginning, they fail. In the second part, they failed upward. Like
Right.
basically, just by chance, they failed upward.
Yeah, yeah. By all accounts, these kids should be dead. I mean, all of them should be
Yeah.
fucking dead.
Well, definitely Sean, the fat kid, and the kid with the dog.
Yeah,
The kid who wrote the
Rudy-
letter.
Yeah,
Yeah, Rudy's still alive because he made all the fucking weapons and kept them. dick.
Yeah, exactly.
Rudy, it should be the only one that's alive.
Right, because he's off chasing chicks while those kids are like fucking around.
Yeah,
With
he's
in the
he's got to go get a
treehouse.
virgin, right? He's just got to go get a virgin,
The other
and
kids get blown up
and
in the
then
treehouse.
you guys go in the scary house where the fucking amulet might be. Which how do they know that the amulet's actually there?
I don't remember that either. It might have been. It might have. This is really poorly written. It might have
Yeah.
been in the not in the booklet or something. I don't know.
No,
Like,
I'm pretty sure in the book it didn't say that this is the amulet's buried
Why,
here.
what the fuck was the book used for anyway? Like, was it just to tell them, that this thing was coming, or like we have to do this?
The point of the
to make the
book
vortex
was to tell the kids how to do the to protect the amulet and do that seance. That was the whole point of the book.
So,
But I'm not sure how it
Van
got
Helsing, did anybody survive from the first time they opened that
there.
vortex?
No,
Because
no, everybody
well,
died.
then how does this shit get passed down? Like, how does it like the book?
I don't know because isn't she reading from the book
Yeah,
or a
because
scroll? No, she's reading from a
from
scroll.
a scroll. But see, I would have figured that somebody like was left over that didn't get sucked in the vortex.
Yeah,
one
kind of
time.
like I would think if it was that important, like the
Like the Fifth
bloodline of
Element,
Jesus
like-
Christ,
like the Fifth
like
Element
like
or
in or like the Da Vinci Code,
Yeah.
where they're trying to protect the cup of Christ, which is basically Mary Magdalene or whatever, the child. They kept it like under wraps and shit. This shit was found. This diary was found in a fucking flea market or garage sale.
See, right away, it would have made more sense if Sean was like a direct descendant of Van Helsing somehow, and then that the book
or
passed
change
down
his
through
dad,
generations.
or
Yeah.
change his dad to the museum curator.
Yeah. Oh yeah. See that?
Well,
that
that's too much
ties
like the
everything
Goonies,
together.
though.
But still, it ties
Or the
things
security
together.
guard at the museum. And Sean's always there hanging out reading shit. And, he's good friends with one of the professors there. And that's where they get the diary.
Exactly. And the
Fuck,
we just fucking
send us a check. Send us a check, Shane Black. You and
Yeah.
your stupid fucking Iron Man 3. Tony Stark, the smartest man on the face of the earth, doesn't realize he has 50 fucking Iron Man suits while he's getting attacked by 2 helicopters. Fuck.
We love your movie Kiss Kiss Bang Bang though, but
Yeah,
everything else,
that's fine. But what the fuck did you do in Iron Man 3? Like, seriously.
I'm starting to starting to wonder about Predator that comes out next year. It's like he's got like
Predator's like surrounded, like he's got all these fucking weapons and gets killed with like a toothpick or something.
toothpick. Or he just like yells at the Predator like, "Come on, like come after me!" He's got all these weapons, but he just like picks up a knife. And he's like, "Come on!"
Falls on a toothpick on his eyeball, trips, and he breaks his neck stepping on a banana peel.
Right in the jungle, shit.
Yeah, credits.
We won.
Yeah, or some guys out there like, fuck all the Predators. Here's my address, and he's just chilling out watching Netflix.
He's like, "It's hot where I lived. Come on
Yeah.
out."
Fucking taunts all of them, sends them a message. You guys have little dicks with your stupid fucking mouths. Your stupid fucking crab-like mouth. Fuck you. Bunch of chicken shit fuckers.
And here's my address.
And then he's like watching, he's sitting there watching like Stranger Things on his fucking couch. Meanwhile he's got like Devastator in like his garage and he doesn't turn on Devastator or some shit.
I want to see that movie. It sounds so stupid.
It's just as dumb as what Shane Black did to Iron Man 3.
Yeah, he's like the most technological man on the planet, and like he's getting shot at by missiles from helicopters, and he can't do anything about it.
No, he can't because he wasn't even in a fucking suit. And then he doesn't tell Jarvis to be like, "Hey, Jarvis, release all the other suits."
Hey, Jarvis, I just told the most feared man on the planet where our address was. Can you please beef up the security?
Or at least lock the front door. Because he doesn't even do that.
He doesn't like. I would be in the suit just standing there like just waiting. I'd be like, I know he's coming.
Yeah.
Because I just gave him my address.
It's so ridiculous. It's so goddamn ridiculous. It's so fucking dumb. I can't, because you know if he does that right, he kills the actual Mandarin right then and there.
Mhm.
Killian is the Mandarin. And that's a whole different fucking side. That's a whole different side of the
Oh
fuck
yeah,
you, fuck you, Shane Black.
yeah.
But
He thought he was being cool.
yeah, no, he's a dick. So Killian, I think that's his name, right? Killian.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he's in the fucking helicopter.
Another dumb fucking name.
Is it? Wait, is he in the helicopter or is that other guy in the
I
helicopter?
think the other guy. I don't think
Oh,
either. I don't think either of the main guys are in the helicopter. They just sent their flunkies.
okay,
You
but
know,
still,
to
let's say, okay, I think Tony Stark has less than 50 suits. Let's just say it's 20. It doesn't fucking matter. It's 20 Iron Man suits, right? You send 4 to the helicopter, right? You send 4 to the helicopter and you take the one dude, right? And you fucking threaten to kill him to give up where the Mandarin actually is. Then you send the other 26 suits that you have in your fucking basement and you go get the Mandarin. The movie is done and you can still not do a goddamn, you can still do not like, you don't have to do a goddamn thing. Like Tony Stark can still not be in the Iron Man suit and he could still defeat the Mandarin. No problem.
No. Instead, they give what's that dude's name was Killian. There was another bad guy named Killian too. Was that in
It was in Commando.
or Running Man? Was it Running Man?
Oh, maybe.
Yeah, it was Running Man. It was
Running Man,
Killian.
right,
Killian was the
The show host.
the show
Yeah.
host. Yeah,
Yeah.
Richard Dawson. Fuck.
Yep.
Richard. I can see Richard Dawson kissing the contestants, sending him out. Bye.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right. Well, that was Monster Squad.
Monster Squad with a heavy dose of fuck you, Shane Black for Iron
Right.
Man 3.
Oh God, yeah. Please don't let him write any more Marvel movies, please.
I don't know that movie. This is where I'm on the side of DC fanboys, where they're like, how the fuck do all Marvel movies get such high ratings? Because Iron Man 3, I think, is like in the 80s.
Yeah, it should not be. Iron Man 2 and 3 are pretty shitty.
Iron Man 3, let's see. Iron Man 3 is at 79%
Okay. Well,
with a movie that could have ended in 20 minutes.
right.
20 minutes. 20 fucking minutes. The movie's done.
Yeah. um. Yeah, those are
So
terrible.
also, this is right after the Avengers, right? It's right after
Mhm.
the Avengers because he has the PTSD from New York, and the Patriots in this movie, and also Captain America's in this universe, and there's no mention of either one of them actually going after the Mandarin. Really, the Patriot kind of does, but only by himself, and he fucks that up. And but like Captain America doesn't go after this guy.
Nope.
Like that would have been a
I think
Would've
they
been
kind of
good.
figured that out later on. Now they're appearing in all each other's movies all the time now. So they've kind
I
of
mean, it
like,
makes sense.
yeah. I mean,
It makes as much sense as when you call out the world's baddest terrorist, you have your 50 Iron Man suits ready.
right.
Like, imagine if they had the Iron Man suits just flying, like
You're
just
not gonna let-
circling,
You're not
just
gonna let
circling.
this go.
No, circling his mansion, right? Just circling the mansion. You don't even have to do anything. Just have all the suits just circling the mansion. Now imagine that fucker showing up with a helicopter. Do you think he's actually going to attack? He's going to hightail it out of there. He's like, no, man. We have a better chance of attacking the White House than Tony Stark's house. We're screwed.
You're like,
What do you-
and let's
like
throw,
it's
let's,
just one suit. No. He's got 50, and he's
Don't-
using all of them.
don't destroy those helicopters. Put a homing beacon on it. We need to
Yeah.
know where they're going.
Problem solved. Problem solved. Movie's over in 30 minutes. Bring on Iron Man 4 with the real Mandarin, you piece of shit.
And like after the helicopters destroy that thing, don't you think the military or the police helicopters would be flying over there? Be like, following
Or the
those households
Patriot or
back?
Captain America, and I don't know.
Hulk
Not e-
shows up.
Yeah, not even a phone call from like Captain America. Hey Tony, I just saw your building blow up.
Yeah, it's fucked
So
up.
just saw your
man.
house blow up. Why the fuck didn't you turn on the Iron Man suit, you idiot?
We know you're rich, man, but shit,
Yeah.
you got to rebuild your fucking house.
I mean, fuck. Just why didn't you turn on your suits, man? And then the worst thing ever too is like he just decides to get the shrapnel taken out of his chest.
Oh yeah, which was like, wait, I thought.
Wait,
you
there's a
couldn't do
reason
that.
why you couldn't do that. Now all of a sudden, just because like Pepper Potts was about to break up with you, all of a sudden you can fucking do it. The fuck is that? It's like Christian Bale's like it's like Christopher Nolan's Batman. Batman doesn't quit unless his girlfriend blows up, and then he fucking quits.
And then for 8 years he's hobbling around.
Yeah, 8 years hobbling around. Let's throw on this knee brace and fucking fight the world's biggest fucking terrorist. There's no training involved. I've got this knee brace. I'm fucking good, Alfred. Let's go.
Yeah, I haven't trained in 8
Did
years.
you see how I kicked that stationary brick rock?
Yeah.
That brick? I mean, I kicked that brick really good. I can fight Bane.
8 years. 8 years doing nothing.
It's like
And he-
Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor fucking telling. He's like, yeah, I can box. I can fight Floyd Mayweather in a boxing ring, even though I've never done it before. You see how I box these other guys that don't know how to box?
Batman's like, it's just like riding a bike, man. It's
Yeah.
okay. I can
It's like, I
fight
got
crime
this shit.
again.
Yeah, I'm good. I don't need to do sit-ups or push-ups or anything. And then he does sit-ups and push-ups, and then he beats Bane. So
Yeah,
if he did,
exactly.
if he
In
did
3
sit up,
months.
if he just did a little, if he did 30-minute cardio that day, he would have beat Bane.
Watch an 8-minute ab DVD. It's like,
8-minute abs and Bane's done.
fuck, I got it.
Bane would have never been able to pick him up that way because then he would have because when Batman's like that, all laid out flat above Bane, you know, stretched out, he could have done a
Yeah.
crunch. He could have done a crunch, and then he would have never had his back broken.
And Alfred's like, hey. we
It's a
got
really
we got-
good thing
We
you
got
didn't-
7-minute abs now.
It's a really good thing you didn't skip on that 8th minute of abs.
Right, right. But they haven't do it. They haven't do it improved DVD.
Yeah.
6-minute abs.
And then you wouldn't have to wait 5 months for Gotham to blow up.
Was that reference to like? Was it White Castle?
What?
The no, it wasn't that. What was the movie with? What was the movie where the guy's like taking Jamie Kennedy? They're driving along, and the guy's like. He's like talking about 8-minute abs. And the guy's like, no. He's like, I have a better. He's like, I got 7-minute ab DVD.
Oh,
And
I
then
don't
Ben,
know what
and
that
then
one
Ben,
is.
and then Ben Stiller goes, well, what if you made it 6-minute abs? And he's like, no, you can't do that in 6 minutes.
I don't know
What
what movie
the
that
fuck
is.
was that movie? I think
don't
it was
know.
something about Mary.
Oh, yeah, maybe. Yeah.
He was driving down to go meet up with, driving down south. I just fucking love that. It's so fucking funny. It's like,
It's kind of
no,
like,
no.
what is that? What is that? And this is completely ignorant. I know this, so don't write it and say I'm being sexist. But so Monistat, right? It's for UTIs.
Yes.
There's a Monistat 7, a Monistat 3, and a Monistat 1, right? So that means how many doses you take until it's gone.
Right.
So why the fuck wouldn't you immediately just go to Monistat 1?
what? It's kind of like that.
What
it's like-
physical, what emotional physical attachment do you have to your urinary tract infection that you need to keep it for 6 more days? Are you gonna miss it? You want
It's
a
like
good time to
it's
say goodbye?
It's that old joke that Jerry Seinfeld used to talk about, like extra strength, headache medicine, like Excedrin and stuff. He's like, give me the most possible dosages that won't kill me. It's like, give me as much as you can that won't kill me, but will get rid of my headache. It's like,
Well, could you-
why do they sell all those different brands? Just
Right.
sell one that give me the most extreme one you have. I know it'll take it away.
And then like Monostat's in their like meeting rooms, right? And the sales guy comes in. He's like, "We
Jerry.
can't figure it." Yeah, Jerry comes in. Is like, "I can't figure out why Monostat 1 is outselling 3 and 7."
We need to keep these others.
That
out
that is a head scratcher, Jerry. You fucking retard. Go help Shane Black do Iron Man 3.
Jeremy's like, I got an idea, Shane.
I got an idea. Let's have Tony Stark call out the baddest terrorist in the world
Yeah,
and just
we'll
have him
blow his- blow
Netflix
his-
and chilling out.
We'll blow his house up. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah. Even
Fucking Jeremy. Call back.
yeah. All right, so Monster Squad.
All right, Monster Squad. Go watch it. Watch it with your kid. It's awesome. I don't think it's on any streaming service right now. So you can
It's on
rent it.
you rent it or buy it from iTunes. You can.
Oh, okay, there you go. Yeah, for like $3 you can rent it or some shit from a million different places. But or you could buy it for like $10 and have it forever in the cloud or whatever the fuck they call it. Anyway, so that was episode 106 of Chew on This, a Nerds United podcast. I'm BJ.
Vic.
Enjoy Halloween, everyone. From all of us at Chewing This. Take care and goodbye.
Later.